was voluntold that I was going to give a 5-minute speech. Surprise. I also think we expected to have a little bit more of a guest list that we could be educating. So I'm going to now veer this towards educating those who are newer members, and then maybe those who need to get back on track or wherever they are in their pathways, or whether they're trying to finish out their communicator or advanced communicator runs. But here's what I've learned about Toastmasters. The fact that I've showed up and I've done the work means that when somebody says, can you give a speech, and then somebody says, can you stretch that out to 10 minutes? You can. You can get up. I don't know that it'll make all the sense, but you can get up and you can speak and you can start making those connections because you started training your brain to be able to do that. You're training your brain to get up and speak without a plan sometimes, but pulling from that knowledge that you have. And you're training your brain to say, oh, I need to add 5 minutes to this. What else do I know, and how can I make those connections? So in addition to all of those skills that you've learned as you've gone through this journey with your first speech to the 10th speech to the 50th speech, I think we're talking about Art there, who's probably at 100 plus, and that's just a low estimate. We're thinking about how you're building upon that foundation every single time. So when we talk about that icebreaker, those of you in this room, and I'm seeing you, I know who you are, who need to come up and do that icebreaker and start your path, we're thinking about not, can you come up here and be the best speaker ever? What we're actually looking at is A, can you do it? And that's what we're encouraging you the most to do. Come up, plant your feet, or move your feet, get animated, keep your hands to your sides, keep them up here. Whatever you bring to the table that first day, that's what we're building upon. My job as Vice President of Education is to not only connect you with a mentor who's going to go on that journey with you. By the way, I need mentors. But I'm also going to connect you with me. So unless you get that mentor at some point in your early journey, I'm going to be that contact point for you. And I've shared that with a couple of you, like Adam. We talked about that. Until we make that connection, you get to ask me all the questions that you have. So in addition to your mentor coming alongside and going on the journey with you, I'm on that journey with you, and we're talking about, hey, when are you ready for your icebreaker? Hey, I'm looking at your different skills. Hey, I noticed that you've done this, and this role. I have seen nothing but professionalism, confidence. I think you're ready to be the Toastmaster. And sometimes that's met with, oh no, it's not going to happen. And we have that encouragement that comes behind and says, I've seen you, I believe in you, and I know you're ready. And you still get to advocate for yourself and say, that's a no. That's still a no. I was mentoring somebody yesterday at work and training her through the process of being an advocate. And I see her as being ready. And I said, do you want to take lead here? And I'll be right there with you. And she said, absolutely not. And we respect that. I'm still going to come back today and say, want to take lead? And the same thing happens in Toastmasters. You can say no, and you get to say no. But I'm still going to keep coming behind and saying, okay, but I think you're ready now. I see this in you. And I'm going to start pulling out those qualities because in every single meeting, I'm trying to take notes on what I see. So not only do you get an evaluation from your evaluator that day, maybe your mentor comes behind and gives you some feedback as well, and then I want to come back behind that and say, here's the strengths that I'm seeing and I'm tracking, so that when I come up here and say, I think you're ready for that, I can speak to those, not just you can do it, which is can be an empty platitude at times, versus I've seen you do A, B, C, and D, you are ready for E. I believe in you. And not only that, here's the proof of that. So let's talk about what it means to get started on your journey. Some of you may be still looking at, I don't want to do an icebreaker, that's too scary, I can't do it. And it is scary, and that's okay. You're allowed to be scared. You're allowed to get up here and hold on to the lectern, hide behind the lectern, lean on the lectern, run into the lectern. I've done that. Run right into it. Lean on wherever you can find that comfort. If your legs are shaking in the early days, if I planted my feet for too long, you could see it. I was like, oh, gotta keep moving. So if you've got to keep moving that energy, then you move that energy. And we're building from that. When we hear icebreaker, just talk about yourself, it's overwhelming. We're like, I'm however many years old. How am I supposed to tell you about my life? You don't have to tell us about your life. Pick one thing. Pick two things. Pick three things. Pick something where you can build a foundation of a story that lays a thread through. Or just get up here and talk and have no idea what you're going to talk about except for what happened last Friday. All we really want you to do is to just take that first step and get up and do it. And that is so much harder sometimes for some people than it sounds. You can do it. It's easy for me to say, it might be hard for you to do. But you get to have that communication, that conversation that says, right, I know how to talk, I've talked to people before, but what does this look like? And so we can go through the nitty-gritty, or we can just be cheerleaders for you. That's the whole point of what we're doing in this club, is not just having a safe place, but meeting you where you are. So we get you signed up for the icebreaker. And what happens a good percentage of the time is we get you on that calendar for the icebreaker, and you take that step forward, and then you go, oh, nope, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. You'll see people on the schedule, and you'll see them drop off. You'll see them on the schedule, and you'll see them drop off. And it's really about they're just working through that process. So if that's you, if that's been you, if you think that might be you, that's okay. You're allowed to be in charge of that journey. But once you get up here and you do it for that first time, we get to see where you are and how we can help you get to where you want to go. And we're all here for different reasons. I'm not doing public speaking at the moment, but I find every single day I have to use impromptu speaking in my job. Because every single person who sits in front of me in crisis needs to hear something different. There might be resources and processes that are the same, but what they need to hear is not cookie cutter. And I need to be able to hear and respond. And I've learned that skill here from taking each and every step, whether it be grammarian, where you are listening intently for those oohs, ahs, and ums, and you knows, and kindas. Those don't count. And trying to work in the information that you have so that you can be effective wherever you are, whether it is on a big stage or one-on-one with a person who needs to hear what you have to say. I've also learned in this club the power of silence, or as we call it, the power of the pause. Learning how to pause effectively, just to take a moment to collect your thoughts, is powerful in delivery, powerful in keeping yourself on track, and it's powerful in my everyday life when I am working with people. Being comfortable with silence. You learn that here. You learn that pause skill right here. And it can be super intimidating to take that moment that's like, oh, 1,000, 2, 1,000, they're all staring at me. Oh, 1,000, I'm making a point, it's happening. They're still staring at me. And you feel like it's going on and on and on, but the pause is just long enough to make your point, to connect, and to give space. So while here we might be presenting and we're not giving you space to talk, learning the power of the pause is somewhere where you can take that into your everyday communication with people and learn that you don't have to fill the silence with, gosh, ooh, and giving the other person space to talk and communicate with you. Because the flip side of communication is being able to hear so that you can give them the information that they need. And too often we spend time listening so we can hurry up and respond. That's how these skills here are helping. As well as then the leadership track. So every single role that you're playing, you may not think, oh, being timer is like, and I call it the easy roles. We give you the easy roles. But really, they're difficult, right? The first time I was timer, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure that it's all going, like life or death was happening over here. Like, I've got it. But it really does. It keeps you on track yourself. It keeps you focused. It keeps you in tune. And then you learn how to utilize that, for example, use of time in your everyday life. So when we think about Toastmasters, we're thinking, I don't want to be a public speaker. I didn't come here to be a public speaker. That's not the only reason to be here. If that is your goal, awesome. Free space to practice. But also free space to practice if you're just saying, I want to be a better communicator at work. So let me bring that back around to my role. My role is not just to cheerlead for you and to say, get on track. My role is to track where you are in addition to where you're tracking where you are and partner with you. So it's not a me telling you and it's not a you telling me. It's a partnership, an agreement that we've come to that we're going to journey together to get you to where you want to go. It's not about club awards. It's not about winning each week. I think I win this. It's about being able to advance you from where you are to where you want to go. So while I'm tracking to get you those awards and get the club awards and get you on track, what I'm really tracking is your journey to get you to where you want to go. So we're going to have that conversation. And if we haven't had that conversation, we need to have that conversation. Why are you here? Why do you keep coming back? Have your goals changed? Mine have. But part of my goals, the reason they've changed is because I've come here. And I've been able to shape where I want to go and how I want to use this space and what I want to do next. Those are the questions I leave you with today because some of you are so brand new that we need to still have that conversation. Some of you have, kind of been on the journey and kind of taken the windy road that goes up and down and around, and that's okay, that's perfectly fine. But maybe we need to have a new conversation because where you started is not necessarily where now the destination has changed. And that's perfectly okay too, but I want to make sure I'm not pushing you down a road that you no longer want to go down. Walking with you, I'm not pushing you, David.
Just for instance.
For example, just being able to say, here's what I want, here's why I'm here, we're going to talk about that. So that's what my role is keeping that commitment to stay here, to come here, to show up, to do the work, whether it is just to be an audience member, to support your other club members, but learn from what they're doing, or it's to be the person who says, I want to be on the big stage, I'm taking that stage, I'm storming it, it's going to be, so how do I get there? You show up, you take the roles, you step into this spotlight right here, and you own this space while it belongs to you, and you do what you do, and you be you, and we come alongside you, and you'll get there. I truly 100% believe that. Been there, done that, doing it still.